This is The Sit Down. I'm your host, Patrick Bet-David. In today's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time, and that's the spirit of competition. Well, my first guest, a good friend of mine, Phil Heath, 7-time Olympia champion. They call him the gift. He's got a complete different style of competition than big game James Worthy, playing for the Lakers, Hall of Famer. Their enemy, the Celtics, how did they treat the Celtics? Versus Tony Hawk, the greatest skater of all time, but he was very subtle, completely different than Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, the man who knocked out so many people. He would put his hands out like this. People would go nuts. He explains how he competed in the UFC. Enjoy Phil Heath.
Who likes to be uncomfortable? See, I treat life like a leg day. Who wants to train arms with Phil Heath? People line up around the corner. Chest, 2 lines around the corner. Legs, I don't know, man.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Man, you have 5 people out of 100 because they know it's going to be painful. It's the unexpected. It's the most uncomfortable situation you're going to be in. As an athlete, you realize, like, this is a game. So like you said, Ted Williams, Usain Bolt, all those guys, when they would hear trash talk and this and that, they're like, okay, all right, now let's go do it.
Do you intentionally create it? Because you talk a lot. You're a talker. Yeah, I mean, it's like everybody knows you are. So do you also kind of do it to get the other guys riled up?
There's 2 reasons. Well, there's multiple reasons, right? Number 1, you're trying to sell. Does Phil Heath get any portion of the ticket sales? No. But let's be real. When people are so-called tired of being a champ, this and that, I don't want you in hiding talking this trash. I want you to say it to my face. But you won't say it to my face because you know my mentality. You know that I'm gonna absorb that. I'm gonna embrace that. And I know how to use that fuel better than they do.
You obviously are not talking about Kai Green. I mean, you're
not.
No,
for him, I mean, he and I had a great moment. He chose to choose different pastures. Hey, fun, things always have to come to an end. Move on. The other guys, personally, I think there is respect. And here's my thing. I would tell a lot of them, get my cell phone number. You could text me and be like, hey, Phil, love you, dude. You're the big bro. You're the king. But I'm coming to kick your ass, man.
Who has said that to you? Who has had the audacity to say
no
to
one.
you? So then here's a question for you. Do you think it helps to know that there's not a definite number 2 that can really compete with you today? Do you think that's good for the sport?
I'm just going to be real. What they should do, this is what the athletes should do. Second place has been shifted from Dexter Jackson to Sean Roden to...
it keeps changing.
It keeps changing. So what they should do, those guys should start talking to each other. They should be saying, that's where the rivalry is. There's some inner rivalries within every league. It doesn't always have to be the top team and the second place team. It could be other teams or other individuals. If you're always trying to come after me, why not make a 3-headed monster coming after Phil Heath, the top 5, this and that, and explain.
So you would tell them to team up and try to compete against each other, so strengthen each other, then somebody can compete against me?
But they should be anyway. They're trying to be too...
Realistically, can anybody beat you?
I guess realistically, yeah. I mean, I can get injured, God forbid.
Minus
that, hell no.
You take care of yourself pretty good. We've had some incredible champions. Haney 8 times, Ronnie 8 times, Arnold 7, you 7. You're about to do 8. Is Arnold working with you as a flag carrier, like bringing you up to be the next face of the...
No.
You guys don't have that kind of a relationship?
No, unfortunately we don't. I would love to have that. And I don't think...
you would love to have that. So it's not a... Because I think
it's important because you need to be able to have someone to pass the torch. And unfortunately in this industry, I mean, we're all very busy, and I'll give Arnold that. He's extremely busy man. I'll be seeing him next weekend, at this classic. If I were to have 5 minutes with him and literally look him in the eye and tell him, say, look, what is it going to take?
I think you guys could easily have that conversation.
When was bodybuilding very popular? We could say when Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing it, right? We could say that right after Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing it. What was Arnold also doing? He was a part of the Governor's Board of Health and Fitness, President's Council of Health and Fitness. Guys like me should be a part of that. If you're Mr. Olympia and you're not a part of the Governor's Board of Health and Fitness where you live, or the President's Council of Health and Fitness, there's a problem because of the fact that guys like Schwarzenegger understood lifting. They understood determination. You telling me that I couldn't go to schools around the country and restore that President's Council of Health and Fitness test, they're going to be like, hell yeah, man, look at this guy. He's got, yeah, let's do this. And I can show them that I'm a functional athlete as well. Like, why isn't that happening?
You've talked about competition a lot. Sometimes I think in the business world, or if you look at, some people look at competition negatively. Competition is a bad thing, or competition is this, or competition is that, or I've lost before. It hurts. It's painful. What do you think about competition, and how important is competition purely in all aspects of life?
Ultimately, it's within that allows you to be all that you can be. Competition is with yourself. There's always going to be someone better than you. That doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. But if you're prepared and you compete with yourself and preparing yourself as much as you can for the challenge, then that's the key. Now, of course, yeah, we knew the Celtics were there, and we were watching them. We wanted home court advantage, so did they. So we would watch and observe, and that gave us incentive. And if there's a company that's doing a little bit better than you, you're gonna you know who they are, and you always learn from losing. I did, and I learned from every experience I had in my life, good and bad. I try to look at it and not repeat it, and enhance the good. So competitiveness is not about winning or losing. It is about, did you prepare? Because preparation is everything. And that was Pat Riley's #1 priority. I'm going to prepare you. You're going to be prepared. And then, did you do everything possible? Did you run as hard? Did you jump as high? Did you make all the phone calls that you needed to make? Did you cold call? Did you go take another class to learn more about the business in order to make your department better as a supervisor? Are you doing all the little things so that when you get on the field and you're in that gladiator, atmosphere, you feel confident? And all you want is confidence. Confident that you're going to play as hard and do all that you can do. And then as a team member, the other team members are doing the same thing. You win. But when, one team member is not prepared, or one team member is trying to do too much, if Magic is trying to do my job, he's going to be tired in the fourth quarter. He's not going to be productive. If you're not prepared for your opponents, if you don't know that this person likes to do this, then he's going to beat you. So preparation is competitiveness.
What are your thoughts about the closeout mentality?
Playing for North Carolina was all about team and understanding what team really is. Despite your individual talent, there's a lot of talented people in this room, and I played with a lot of talented people. And the role of the most talented person is not to bask in your own individual talents. That's going to come naturally. You're going to get things naturally just by being talented. But as a talented person, your role is to look around your team, look in your locker room, and see who's not as talented as you are. And in a very subtle and compassionate way, your role is to bring them to your level in order to make the team and the brand, because nothing is as big as the brand. I mean, we're all replaceable. Someone can replace one of us at any time, but the brand will always be around. The Lakers have been around for a long time. And the only thing I had to do was come in and be a listener. And even when I didn't believe in the philosophy, because we got a playbook about that thick. I'm sure you guys get them all the time. And you look at it, and you're a member of this team, but yet you might not quite understand the philosophy yet. You still have to believe in it. And you have to know how to agree to disagree. You have to know how to recognize people's talent. There was a lot of people I didn't get along with on my team. But I recognized at 7:30, when the game started, I understood what his role was in making me better and making the team better.
Walk us through the first time that 900 was done on live television.
Wow. Well, I think I'd have to go back to sort of the quest for the 900. I learned 720s, which is a double spin, in 1985, and it was always in my head like, well, the next obvious rotation is a 900, and I didn't actually get the guts to try it until about 10 years later is when I really started to spin it and realize that I could gain enough speed and get the spin fast enough to get around. And I tried for years. I tried to do it. I would set certain days and have people shoot video of it. Get a photographer. Today's the day I'm going to do it. Let's take photos. And then I would, the closest I ever got, I came down the wall and then I ran into the flat bottom and broke my rib. My quest for it was almost to 10 years in at that point.
So wait a minute, before June 27, 99, you've never landed it?
I never landed.
Oh, so you've never landed it off camera?
No.
So the first time you ever landed
Yeah.
it was that?
Yeah.
Wow.
My first real attempt at it was 1989, and I ended up on my back on the flat bottom and thought maybe I should wait on this.
Walk me through, like, when you landed this 900.
They were having a best trick event, and they had held best trick events in the past at different events, and it usually just ends up people trying their hardest stuff and mostly people falling all the time. And I had a little more strategy where I was like, I know that I have done these couple of tricks, so at least I'm going to get those in the, get those in the bank, and then I'll have a trick to go off of, like for whatever they're judging. And I did 2 of them, and I got them pretty early. And then I tried what was going to be my harder trick, which was a varial 720, which is like a 720 and turning the board an extra half turn. That was going to be my big trick. And I landed that one early on. So I still had time left. And for me, the next trick in my sort of wish list is a 900. But I really didn't think that I'd be able to do it. I've been trying it for years, so I mostly just did it to for the crowd.
Did anybody say, Tony, let's try the 900, or was it a you decision?
The announcer, I think, said something like, what about a 900, and I was like, all right, I'll do it for the crowd, just to show them, like, this is what I would love to do. And I tried a couple, and something clicked in those first few where I was spotting my landing every time, and that rarely happened. Usually it was like one spin was really good and one just was flailing. And eventually I would get hurt. That's how it would always go. So this night it was like every spin was pretty consistent. So I started putting it on the wall, and the first couple times I put it on the wall, I fell forward the way that I did when I broke my rib, but not as bad. And then I realized that in the middle of the spin, if I shift my weight to my back foot, I'll remedy that fall forward. And it started working. I basically, at that moment, the time for the event had run out, and I knew that I was either going to make it or get taken away in an ambulance.
And you made that distinction, that decision right there?
It wasn't even like a conscious thought. I just knew that I was going to see it through or get taken out doing it.
Sean fell one time. Sean White, he fell one time. And Marty's like, it sounds like you just broke your knee.
Right.
Right? So when you watch it from the outside and you see these falls, matter of fact, what's the worst injury you've had, worst accident? You were showing me something right here, and to you it was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I almost hit that pole.
My worst accident was a broken pelvis. That happened when I was in my late 30s, and it actually taught me a lot about sort of my priorities and what I take for granted, and how much I love skating, that I would push through such a traumatic injury to get back on my skateboard. It's not because I want to get paid again. It was just more because I love skating, and it's such my identity at this point. And I couldn't do without it. And it was really hard. It was one of the hardest years of my life, was reevaluating, what I love doing and sort of making compromises with it in terms of what I could do and gaining my confidence back.
How do you come back from that?
It took a while. The thing that I was doing when I got hurt was not something that was foreign to me or that was necessarily that hard. And so it made me question everything I took for granted at that point, and tricks that I knew that I could do on any given day. And so I would be doing tricks thinking like, wait, is this really safe? Am I capable of this? And you start to question everything. And it took me about a year to get not only my tricks back, but my sense of confidence back.
It's kind of been hesitant a little bit.
Yeah. And I should be, like you can get hurt doing this.
Yeah. Sometimes in the business world, you get hit, okay? And in that moment, you can't teach a dog fight to somebody. If you got the fight, you got the fight. Sometimes you see in your world, somebody gets hit and they back down and back up and they don't come back to fight. Is that instinct? Is that fear? Is that not lack of dog fight?
Okay, I say this all the time with striking. Like I'll say, that guy doesn't like to get hit. Everyone goes, what do you mean? No one likes to get hit. Yeah. No. But what I mean by that is he's unnecessarily afraid of getting hit. He's pulling his head out like this. When you put under that pressure, you have two choices really. You break and fold, or you come out fighting. If you're gonna succeed in I think about anything, you need to be that guy that comes out fighting. Tito tapped his strikes one time. Funny story. So we were in a party talking about it, and I forgot that he had tapped his strikes when he fought Frank Shamrock. We were talking about this other guy that had tapped to Vanderlei Silva. And I was like, to strikes, he was getting struck and he tapped. I'm like, man, what up? Man, can you believe that guy's tapped to strikes? If you can think to tap, you can think to defend yourself and try to get out of it, can't you? And I go, I didn't realize, I was talking to Tito, and Tito was like that. I'm like, oh, sorry. We kind of walked out, 'cause I'm like, oh, he tapped to strikes.
And in that moment, you didn't know, you didn't think about it.
I didn't think, I forgot that he had tapped to strikes in that fight, because, you know, when they stopped that fight, I went nuts, because that was right when I first started training him, when he was helping him train, get ready for fight, was before he fought Frank Shamrock. And I was on the side and I didn't see him tap. I went nuts that they stopped the fight. But no, it's almost over. He already won. He won the rounds up to the end. And that round was almost over. And I'm like, oh, no, you can't stop the fight. Why are you stopping? He's not hurt. But then someone told me he tapped. I'm like, oh, he tapped. How?
Have you ever tapped?
No.
No.
Here's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling people not to tap.
But the point I'm making with you is you've been hit. I mean, you will not stop with the fight till the very end.
Oh no, I went to sleep in the fight. The guy trying to choke me, I went to sleep. I don't tap. Like when a guy taps to choke, if I can think to tap, I can think to try to get out of it. I still got a little bit of air left. I can get out of it. I rolled out of headlocks in high school wrestling, when a guy rolled out the wrong way, got out, stood up like this, with stars in my eyes, could barely see, but they didn't know. They had no idea. But I'd rolled out and I almost choked myself out, but I got out.
Wow.
For me, it's never been a question whether or not I'm going to quit. I have my saying about mental toughness. I always said mental toughness is an everyday thing. You can't just turn it on and off for a fight, for a match, for whatever.
It's life.
It's life. You have to do it all the time. And as I read studies on it actually afterwards, that training people to do it, a lot of teaching them routines helps. Anything where you have to do it all the time, and it's just you're not, when you don't feel like doing it, you get up and do it because that's your routine.
Where it almost doesn't make you think, it's continuous?
Yeah, and I've been retired for about probably 3 years. And I've been kind of letting things go. And hey, man, I don't have to do that now. I put in my time. I did my thing. I became world champion. I did everything I wanted to do. I can relax. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't feel like doing that today. That kind of stuff. I started doing that. And then we're in Hawaii, my family, and my oldest son starts running up the mountain. We're going up one of the stairs. He starts running up, and I start running up behind him because I can't let him beat his dad. So I'm running up and I pass him, and I realize I'm in not very good shape. But I pass him and he's gonna stop, but I'm like, man, I started running this thing, I gotta finish it. Man, and I started in my mind for the first time in my life that I could remember, I actually questioned whether or not I should. And for me, that was enough. Just the fact that the question even came into my mind, whether or not I should stop or keep going, bothered me and made me start working on changing back my decisions in my normal everyday life, because it was bleeding into my competitive life, even if it's just that kind of competition. For me, the question would have never came up. If I started running that, I'm going to finish it.
You think success caused that?
I don't think it was success. I think it was retirement. It was actually just because for me...
You reached the top of the mountain type of feeling?
Well, and being like I felt like when I retired, I was done. Even being at the top of the mountain, I still was trying to prove I'm the best in the world all the time. So there's still that goal was always right there. It's always been there. And all of a sudden, I move off here. There's no goal. There was no final place.
You know, when the topic of competition comes up, you generally have three different audiences. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. There is the one audience that says, I don't believe in competition. I believe in domination. I don't want to compete because it's for sissies. I dominate people. Then there's a group that says, I don't think competition is good or domination is good. I believe in collaboration. I like to collaborate. Let's figure out a way to do stuff together, which is fine. But then there's this group, hidden group, secretly some of the most fierce, crazy competitors in the world. But you know what happened to them? A few years ago, maybe they were in high school, girl broke up with them. They lost a football game in front of friends, family, girlfriend, husband, wife. They were humiliated and they said, oh my gosh, this is so hurtful. People saw me lose. I am so embarrassed. I will never compete ever again. That group right there, let me explain something to you. As bad as your loss was, I want you to compare it to the 4 stories that you just heard here. These 4 guys lost publicly in front of millions of people, and people know about it. Chuck Liddell was knocked out in front of 20,000 people, not including the millions watching pay-per-view. Was your loss as bad as theirs? You know what I respect about these four guys? Let me tell you what it is. I've had some humiliating losses in the past before, and it's made me become timid. But this is what I respect. You guys sometimes put these up and say, listen, I don't know if I'm going to beat you or not, but I'm going to fight you. Here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm getting in the flipping arena. Let's see what happens in the arena. If I'm not good, I'm going to get better and come back. But if I'm good, I want to fight the next guy. That's how you get better. And by the way, that's part of life as well. That's what makes it juicy to want to keep getting better. So anyways, you don't have to agree with me. That's what I believe in. Now, for you, I want to hear from you. Send me a tweet at Patrick Bay David. Let me know your thoughts about today's episode of The Sit Down. Take care, everybody.